pretty good. How you doing?
In the last exercise, it I brought something up that was pretty strong, and it was like I looked around the corner at just this terror. So I wanted to
Yeah, good.
talk to you about it because it was big. I didn't know how to
That's
go
good.
into it or anything.
That's
but
what the exercises are designed for. To see just what's around the corner.
yeah, and I've had kind of a strong life for the last few years, and kind of a lot of stuff changed. Wasn't sometimes not so enjoyeable.
You look pretty good for it.
I eventually had to get a sense of humor.
That's wisdom right there.
It was too much. I was just like, okay, well, there's nothing to be holding on to anymore. But what I saw in the exercises, there were a couple things like
Little tendrils.
not this one, and and so
And you had a good laugh.
no, actually, it was like I couldn't breathe a couple moments, and I don't want to say it. I realized like I'm really superstitious, and so I was like, I can't say this out loud. It's like I don't want my health to change. It's like, oh shit, I'm not gonna say that. What if an anvil falls out of the sky and hits me when I walk outside? So, but
Even if it doesn't, your health will change.
yeah. But yeah, that's what I was seeing. It was like there were a couple that would start to come up for the answer, and I was like, oh, hell
It's
no.
really good to see this superstitious mind.
Yeah, and it was just like my whole chest was tight, and I was like, it was like hard to breathe, and I was just like, well, getting the mind away from those.
So does it have less power when it's just out of sight or more?
Way more.
That's
yeah,
just excellent.
Yeah,
That's great. This is really good to see. It's like being a kid, and being terrified. And then one day you actually do look under the bed or in the closet. You're scared to look under the bed or in the closet because you don't want to see the monster or him to see you seeing him, because then it would all be over. But you do. That's the power of inquiry. Really inquiring, even though it's like, oh, I don't want to see that or say that or hear that or evoke that. Invoke that. Yeah. Create that.
So, anyway, that's what I thought I'd come up, say hi, see if we could
See if you would say it up here.
deal with it, because it's still there.
Okay.
It's still there, but
Great.
and I know, like I don't anticipate going home and being like, well, let me face my deep terror right now.
Okay, so let's face it right now.
Yeah, that's
Very good. Excellent. Just right.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Where is it? I definitely, I'm feeling like a coattail of it, but it's definitely like in the chest, like here, just like a.
So if you don't change it, if it's really not about changing it, but more investigating it,
Yeah.
then just let your attention fall into it,
Yeah.
open to it. And be aware if you're telling yourself some story that goes with it.
Yeah.
And that's okay at the beginning to get it rolling, but then you drop the story. So it's just the pure emotion, pure consciousness. What?
I'm not finding too much.
That's right.
I've some there, like whatever, like in my mind I can see like some big dark cloud like in my torso, but
So go into that in your torso, and what do you find? But you leave the image of it behind, because that's a story. What's there? What's the report?
It's funny. It's a it was this terror of not changing in a bad place, like something really bad happening, and then that being the impermanent, would kick in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so when you opened to that, what was the result? What is the result?
I laughed. It was, it was comical at that point because
Yeah.
obviously, that would change too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Now,
it.
what's the experience of opening? Because you're really touching on something, like if something horrible happens to you and that doesn't change. I go meet with men in prison, and some of them are in for life, and that's not going to change. In for life with no parole. So that's really up against it. And that's, I don't know what you were imagining,
Yeah.
but that's a real life thing that happens. Some people go to prison and they're actually innocent. Not the ones I've met, but they are innocent. They don't say they were innocent. But there are people, as we know, that get found every day that are innocent, that got killed, death penalty. And innocent people get killed every day anyway. And look at the Holocaust, what a teaching that is. And look at the tsunami, people on the beach. So horrible things do happen. And they could happen to each one of us. And that's just the reality of being a form that is subject to disappearance, subject to birth and death. So you know that, each of us know that somewhere in us, and we don't want that to happen, of course. Besides just a survival drive, you just don't want that to happen. You don't want war, you don't want bombs coming down, you don't want rape, you don't want torture, of course. But we know history, and it happens, and has happened. Because it's somehow the nature of this planet. And most of all, we don't want this body to die. Especially a young
Yeah.
body.
No, but I'm okay with that, and that's what you've been talking about, like fear of death, the last couple of days, whatever. And I was like, I'm not. That's cool.
Well, this then is your death.
Yeah.
So death has different forms. This is your death.
Yeah.
Something
It's getting stuck.
intractable.
It's no more change. It's
That's right.
getting caught in something.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a prison.
Yeah. That's
It's
exactly
a prison
what it
cell.
is. Yeah.
With no escape possible. And so then to open to that, God willing, it will never happen to anyone in this room. But to open to it, whether it happens or not, you're free. Or you have tasted the freedom, the possibility that has been reported from many prison cells. I mean, St. John of the Cross, do you know who's St. John?
Yeah.
So he wrote some of the greatest mystic poetry that we have, from being put in a dungeon by his own church during the Inquisition. So we have reports, and you have your direct experience. You saw just around the corner, not that death, okay, but don't lock me in and throw away the key.
Yeah.
So that then is your death. That's the demon.
Okay.
That's what's under the bed. And when you open to it in that moment, it's not there. It's not there. And it may reappear because, of course, this is part of our cellular structure. We are designed to stay out of prison cells, or designed to stay away from dropping bombs or careening buses, of course. So it's not about that. It's simply about opening to whatever it is you are afraid of. And that's what you found. Really useful. Really useful. Because then you're unburdened by it. Doesn't mean if it happened you wouldn't be afraid and not want it to happen, but you have tasted the freedom in the midst of it. And so then you're not walking around carrying it behind you. What if this happens? It's like, I'll meet it. I'll meet what happens. more of what's true. You do, it's clear.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it is. Really fun, isn't it? People can't imagine what kind of fun this is. They think distraction is fun. It's only when you're tired of distraction that you want more of what's really here. I'm so happy to talk to you. You're beautiful. What a light. And that's how we support each other. It's as St. John of the Cross supports us today. So what was that, the 1500s, 1600s? Maybe even the 1400s, I don't know. It's alive today. Ramana, Papaji, all of the Christ, all of the Christ throughout time. And each one of us, in our particular way, with our particular life events, the good ones that we don't want to change but are subject to change, the bad ones we want to change but are subject to staying here as long as they stay here, all of it becomes our theater where we support one another. That's Leela, God's theater. Thank you.